Dr. Rapaport, good morning.
John, good morning. It's a beautiful day, and you always bring joy to the room when we do this taping.
Uh-oh. When you say that, that means you're going to get fired up and start raving and ranting.
Well, I'm expecting us to change the world with your appropriate questions and commentary.
Well, today we're doing a response video to the CAP video that we did a couple weeks ago, and it's generated a lot of comments and a lot of controversy, and so it's going to be a longer video. It's going to be a little longer video than we normally do, so pause the video, go get your iced tea or your coffee, and sit back and relax for I guess we're going to have a healthy discussion on some of these issues that have come up. And as always, our readers and commenters have extremely valuable and insightful commentary, and we're going to go through some of that today. But it is going to get a little ugly because we have a common theme that is here that we're going to talk about a little bit, and that is generally just attacking you directly and myself indirectly for our ignorance on cold atmosphere plasma therapy. And before you comment on that, and I know we're going to have a lot of comments on that, I personally spend a lot of time on TikTok and on YouTube. Because of my algorithm, I see a lot of topical steroid withdrawal sufferers, people going through withdrawal.
Sufferers.
Sufferers, yeah, right. Okay,
Sufferers.
Sufferers, right. And I read the comments, and I can say with universality, I have never read a comment, and there are probably 100 people today currently posting on TikTok and YouTube who are chronicling their withdrawal. I have never read a response where someone is recommending CAP therapy. I've read responses, numerous responses, where people recommend getting a hold of you and having a consultation directly with you for symptom management. But I've never seen anybody say, "Oh, hey, go fly to Thailand. Your life's going to be beautiful. It's all over in 6 months."
Well, the first thought, and we'll delve into the reality and the science. The first thought is that I worry that they could be shills for the company, for the machine, for the salons, and they're planted. Their diatribes are too long, too well tailored with comments. We've seen that with Dr. Aaron. He had his shills out there vilifying me when he was wrapping everybody in steroids and curing everybody, and I just ripped him to shreds. You don't hear a word about him for the last year or two because his therapy is absolutely ridiculous, and he's caused nothing but suffering to hundreds of thousands, who knows, hundreds. That kind of response is what I'm hearing with the CAP comments. So that's number one. Are they making something out of it? Are they getting paid under the table, or are they lying? Number two, it is absolutely appropriate to have free speech. I love it. The commentators can say what they want, and I like the positives, obviously. I like to hear that they followed what I said and it worked. I like to hear some controversy. I do not do well when one human being says that they have found the answer and they negate, they belittle, they are vilifying my nearly 8,000 cured people, nearly 20,000 comments that I've reviewed and answered, the 850 to 900 people on cyclosporin, of which I have no stock, and they're all cured and had no problem. And they're saying that what they did was the answer.
Well, let's unpack that a little bit. Because when you talk about your regimen of treatments and therapies, and again, we're beating a dead horse, and we're repeating it. Cyclosporine is not a cure. It manages the symptoms while a person's going through the natural withdrawal from steroid addiction.
Okay, again, let me reiterate for the 70th time. There are 3 ways of handling this. You can go hide in the corner, and somewhere between 3 and 5 years you'll be cured just by stopping steroids. So this person, an inane, unscientific, inappropriate, evil human being who might be talking somebody into flying to Thailand, says that what she did is the answer.
A cure. But the point is a cure.
A cure.
Not symptom management, a cure.
Cure. She's 5 years in. She's
5 years in, so it's over anyway.
Yeah.
And see, this is where I have appreciation and support people who say, I did some cap therapy and it did calm my skin down.
You can put ice on your face.
Well, that's what Pat wrote.
Yeah.
You know, I saw that. It said, I cannot speak on cap therapy, but cryotherapy really did calm my skin. I felt it was on fire, thus the name of your movie, Skin on Fire, and out, but the cold chambers did alleviate and help me get through. Help me get through. That's perfectly acceptable.
Right.
But do not say it's a cure, because when we read the literature, what little literature there is, it says that cap therapy promotes the production of nitric oxide.
Yeah, the exact opposite of what we want, because that makes for red skin. So I was going to finish with the 3 ways of
I apologize.
curing. No, it's okay. We both get hot under the collar because this woman is indefatigable with her length of commentary, which is absolutely, totally false. And how dare her say that cyclosporine caused a squamous cell? It's outrageous.
Well, let's back up a little bit. So this person wrote that her dermatologist said that she had ended up with squamous cell carcinoma as a result of cyclosporine.
Right.
And there's nothing.
No evidence.
But there's nothing in the literature that supports that.
No. If you're a transplant patient and you're on cyclosporine, if you were in the sun and you have sun-damaged skin, you stand a chance of getting skin cancers. Not somebody who is not old, who does not have damaged skin and is on cyclo for a short period of time. That is garbage talk. And again, the derm should be shot at dawn at the same time. So the second way of handling these patients, 75% of the ones that I've cured are supported with symptomatic meds. Don't want to expose them anymore, or they don't want to be exposed to big gun drugs, and they muddle on through as long as they're functioning and going to school, going to work, and looking okay, and sleeping, and not scratching themselves to death. We stick with simple therapy, 75%. The other 25% are basket cases. They can't live, they're suicidal, they're depressed. They're the ones who I put on cyclosporine. After a long talk, after long deliberations, and they invariably are so much better within days. They look great within about a month, and they all go to cure. None have I had to stop. Amazing, amazing drug. And compared to all the new drugs that have been promulgated as proficient and good and new, there are 8 of them now approved by the FDA, papers published in the derm journals, totally valueless. None of them have cured. Dupixent being the number 1 from 6 years ago, no cures at all.
Okay, so on this person that went to Thailand and did cap therapy, who now after 5 years is miraculously cured and is attributing it to cap therapy, she went on to say that she was on cyclosporine and it was ineffective for her, and that she's one of the unlucky 5 to 10%.
Well, it depends upon what phase she was in. Did she really have red skin syndrome? Did she really have eczema? Did she have psoriasis? How much redness did she have? Is she past that stage where cyclo won't work anyway? Was it the wrong dose? Was it the wrong pill? Did the doctor know how much to give? Did he use the right amount? There's so many ifs that she doesn't answer. but she demeans me by saying that your therapy didn't work, like I invented cyclosporin, after saying that about 95% of the patients are all cured. No one had to stop it.
Well, and then the other thing is part of her rant, she's talking about, you know, the beneficial uses of CAP therapy, which have nothing to do with topical steroid withdrawal.
Nothing.
And you and I don't have a dog in that hunt. So,
well,
you know,
but
that's fine.
They're all physiologically different.
Right.
How can this magic cure that has never been written up in the derm literature or in any literature is being used in the salons in these 3 countries? No doctor is writing anything. How can it be so magical and wonderful? Did we not hear the same thing with leaky gut, with acupuncture, with
moisturizer?
Moisturizer withdrawal.
Yeah.
Did we not hear the same garbage talk about that everybody has herpes? I have never seen a case of herpes. Did we not hear the same garbage talk about you got to look out for lymphoma? One of the, or several of the patients in our group were told they had lymphoma, which they never did, scared the hell out of them, etc. There are many things that have been said, and these poor souls are obviously distressed, depressed, and can be suicidal by the garbage that is spewed out over these internets.
This is that you've just hit it though. I think one of the reasons CAP therapy and things like it get such traction is because it's just impossible to believe that any medical problem could last 3 to 5 years to solve. It's not believable.
Well, it's very interesting that anything lasts that long. And it's exceptionally interesting to me that I have followed thousands of patients on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis and observe them and all the variations of this problem and have explored every one and have a pretty good understanding of the variations and the things that work and the things that don't work. We are taping now. We made a film 2 years ago after 40 years of experience with all of these patients. I surely didn't, only scientific papers were written, lectures were written to dermatologists, none of this open camera business to the lay public, until there was a really good feeling on my part that I've seen everything and I can relay those events to the public, to the doctors who should change their ways, and to the patients to say, we got something that'll make you better.
Well, but we're getting comments that you and I should finance research into CAP therapy. Send a team of patients to Thailand and study it, because if we don't, we're a bunch of ignoramuses.
Well, you and I would be sunning ourselves on Phuket Island for a month on time. We would think up...
You're not going to make me go to the Ladyboy bar, are you?
It's laughable. It's despicable.
Well, and this is one of the comments. Bobby writes, all evidence of benefit is anecdotal. There's zero published data. So therefore, what do you want Dr. Marvin Rapaport to study? Where's ITSAN? Where's the NEA? You know, the NEA is financing scholarships to go to Florida to meet with Dupixent and have vegan food and
sell more drug.
And yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Why don't sell more drug? Because drug company finances them and gives them stipends. How dare these organizations falsifying the data and telling their clientele, donate to me, that we know everything, you're going to have this the rest of your life. I'm sorry you're suffering, but just follow us. Oh, and by the way, look at our flagship page that has the 8 or 9 drug companies that sponsor us.
There's a person named Abby, and she's been very. I've been following her responses, and when I see her name, my ears pop up. She says, "Glad it helped you. being cap therapy. I'm interested in seeing the peer-reviewed research on cap helping with topical steroid withdrawal. Can you please post the links to peer-reviewed research so that all of us can see for ourselves? I'm not interested in before and after photos on Instagram. I'm not interested in seeing the he said, she said. I've been fooled into trying a lot of stuff already, and I can Photoshop photos to create those before and after images.
Well,
I hadn't even thought of that,
science
by the way.
Is not magic. It's not religion. There are methodologies to prove that treatment X is effective versus placebo versus other treatments out there in the marketplace. You cannot dupe the other scientists. There's been enough garbage, enough lying. The president of Stanford had to step down last month because he lied or did some miscreant things in several papers that he wrote. And he was called on that by a student. It was published in the newspaper. He stepped down. You cannot lie to other scientists. You cannot do that. You're evil if you do that. You're leading patients and doctors astray. Millions are spent. Millions more suffer unknowingly. Millions have false hopes. Millions are led down into the rabbit hole thinking that this is going to be the answer. You are not allowed to do that.
Well, that's what Abby is saying. Abby's saying is you've got these Instagram influencers who are pushing people into a prescribed solution or a presumed solution, and there's just no document and you don't have a dog in the hunt, by the way, other than keeping people from chasing a false hope.
Well, yeah, we've talked about this and how Abby is so accurate, and that's why in that one long 40-page article that appeared in some journal, some obscure journal out of Slovakia, that said nothing but garbage about cap therapy for 1 million diagnoses and 1 million little variations that were done in some lab.
And again, that's fine.
But they were meaningless. They were just meaningless. It's just like saying, eat chocolate ice cream, it makes you smile. It's good for the muscles around the mouth. It also is very good because your eyes light up. It also is good because when you hear somebody licking an ice cream cone, it makes your hearing better. I mean, it's garbage, but people go for that kind of magical science.
One person wrote that the cap therapy video that we did does absolutely no good for topical steroid addicted patients. And somebody writes, this video absolutely does good for topical steroid addicted patients as it keeps them from chasing an unproven remedy and more hopelessness. 3 to 5 years is the answer. That's it. Nothing has proven to shorten the duration. Symptom management during that time is the only option.
Well, and again, to go back to 3 minutes ago, terribly interesting that this entity takes that long to cure. I know of no other disease. You get a fractured femur, it's 12 months in the cast. You have an asthmatic attack, it's 3 days. You have a cold, it's 5 days. You have peptic ulcer disease, it's 2 weeks, et cetera, et cetera. You have infection of the bladder, it's 7 days on the antibiotic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Where does 3 to 5 years come in for total cure? Why does the body flare with redness? It's very interesting and most peculiar. So therefore, 1 million remedies can be said to do good when it's garbage science. It's absolute inappropriate. And you cannot do this on a national, international media because you're going to drive patients to more distress, promising them that this is a wonder drug. For one person who was near cure anyway at 5 years, and they're giving credit to an ice pack? $50,000 for an ice pack in Thailand? Oh, come on. You got to be kidding me.
Just to digress a little bit. This is another one that just drives me out of my mind. This person writes, so what is Dr. Marvin's thoughts on chronic hardened skin caused from moisturizing?
How is that possible?
Well, no, but I mean, the point is, he's asking you a question, and they're setting the table as to what the cause is for the question you're responding to. I've never even heard that hardened skin, even in the crazy stuff that I've read, that hardened skin is caused by moisturizer. I've never heard that.
Yeah, it's outrageous. Outrageous. But they bring up old saws repeatedly over and over and over again. Why can't they open up their minds? Thickened skin, the backs of the hands, the wrists, the neck often, happens very frequently because they're scratching for years. And the act of scratching thickens the skin. That is not red skin syndrome. That is not TSA. That is not topical steroid addiction. That does not benefit from cyclosporin. That does not benefit from anything else from TSW. It takes time and sunshine, and it finally goes away, but that takes a long time, a year or two more. So if they are in the hands of the cap people, and all they have are some thickened wrists and skin, and they think they got a little bit better, and they're in the sun in Thailand, and they're giving credit to a hoax and telling the other people in the world that I just was cured by a hoax and I want you to do it also, and oh, by the way, I'm getting something under the table. You can see why we both get very angry.
Yeah.
Angry.
Yeah.
You know, the problem is there's no magic in this. It takes its own time. I can hold hands and give great psychotherapy if the patient is functioning and they're worried, they're anxious, they're distraught. Sometimes nothing is needed. All you have to do is say, look, you're doing well, you're going to school, you need a sleeping pill. You're itching a little bit, why don't you up the dose of the antihistamine that we talked about? Oh, you're in the bathtub, but you weren't before because you were burning. Wasn't the gabapentin great for a couple months that you need it, and now you're in the bath and you love the bath, etc., etc., etc.
And that creates a curious point in that if they're on the antihistamine and they're not scratching with such severity, they're sleeping through the night and not scratching themselves into bits, they're also taking away the thing that's creating the thickened skin.
Yeah.
So it's a two-prong attack.
Right.
A, they're withdrawing from topical steroids, and two, they're not,
Yeah, it didn't need some fancy drug like the new 818 out there that are costing somewhere between $20,000 and $80,000 a year. Isn't that obnoxious that the drug companies dare to charge that kind of money and they don't work? Lisa, they're on national TV advertising. Dupixent sort of is off. I think they're pulling their horns in until, who knows, summer is funny. But Rinvoq is out there advertising like crazy. Wonderful new drug. Garbage. Garbage. Doesn't work. I've seen failures over and over.
But with Rinvoq, you don't have to inject yourself.
Okay.
So at least with Dupixent, you're having to create this very painful injection. Rinvoq, you can take a pill and not have it work.
And there's another one, a cream, another one of the 8 new ones. How can a cream make an active red person who is still on steroids get better within a few days? It's a waste of money and time.
Lisa wrote, nearly 2 years in and just having another flare after a good few months of calm-ish skin. I've been looking into all the cures again. That's what they do, Marvin. They go onto the internet and they start looking for the magic bullet. And she said, driving myself crazy listening to all this stuff. She said, this video, and this is our cap cap therapy video. This video came at the right time. Thank you. Now back to being patient and riding the flare. Thank you for sharing your work. Now, this is a patient that should really reach out for some assistance in symptom management. I'm surely
more than happy to help anybody and everybody. If they don't want me to do it, I can advise their doctor wherever they live around the world, etc., etc., etc. I have answered, as I said, at least 20,000 inquiries in all this time. The problem with all of these patients is it takes 3 to 5 years. And on day 17, they can't sleep. On day 27, they're itching more. On day 34, they have a hive rash, etc. So there's always something going on, and it needs to be told what it's all about. They panic otherwise.
We have such a stack here. I agree with what John said about the NEA going to Thailand to study cap therapy, if there was any validity to it. If cap therapy works so well, why don't the originators of it go to the FDA, open clinics here, and have a wonderful business? The other one was this cap therapy requires the use of a serum.
Yeah,
what is that? Can I see an ingredient list?
Well, I thought right away, back on all the history of medicine books that I read, how they used to use leeches, how they used to extract blood in the early 1900s, spin it down and inject the red cells into the buttock, or variations of that theme. We've been doing this kind of garbage therapy for a long time, associated with high colonics, associated with leaky gut, associated with, it's endless, the garbage that gets repeated over and over and over again, and the doctors go along with it, or they make a fortune attracting despondent patients into their fold and charging a fortune and getting nowhere. And everybody walks out after the first day feeling better.
Vicky says, I've become so bitter towards those in the TSW community who keep suggesting things that were already tried and failed. Acupuncture, leaky gut, moisturizer withdrawal, it's all the same. Fail, fail, fail. My fiance is severe 2 years now and holding out, but he may break down and take cyclosporine when he can't take it any longer.
Well, but this is
why the hesitance?
What's wrong with, how can he give up 2 years of his life and not get help? And I keep saying the cyclosporine works within days. Why are they reluctant? I want you to function. You can't give up life. What, because you're 27 and you got many years to go?
Somebody comment back to this woman. I apologize for jumping around here, but it's just a flurry of comments, and they're all over the map, so it's hard to keep on a common theme. This person that said that they got squamous cell carcinoma from cyclosporine, her dermatologist told her that. And one of the respondents says, wait a minute, that same dermatologist that got you addicted to steroids is now going to tell you that cyclosporine causes squamous. And oh yeah, well, my dermatologist said XYZ.
He's such a whiz.
Yeah, he's the guy that got you. He's the guy that got you here in the first place.
They spit out. They believe what they want to, the patients and the doctors, and that is not good science. And you cannot spew that garbage on the internet to other people. There's going to be someone out there who will follow your advice wrongly.
Chinji says, you obviously don't know anything about CAP. It actually works and showed great results for me and for hundreds of patients. I suggest you do more research before you dismiss it. Well, I'm convinced. That, you got me, Kenji.
Research.
Yeah, right.
You know what these people do? You know what the research is? Here, let me show you. This finger touches a button on the computer. That's called research. And some other kook says that I love this therapy, and they walk away saying, I found the answer. This finger found I did the research. This is who you're dealing with.
And I know I'm reading these comments with an attitude, and I sound like a dismissive ass, but I think I am a dismissive ass. I've done it for 5 years. I've done it. I've done everything.
We're trying our best to help souls go through life. I feel a huge confidence level because they're not going to die of this entity. They're all going to be cured. Now, many of them are not very kind. And if they're cured, you know, what was the last thing they did at 5 years after following my advice or not following my advice? And the last thing they did was the cure. Well, that's ridiculous. When something takes 5 years and you can do nothing and you'll be cured at 5 years. But they believe this. This is not religion.
The penultimate comment comes from Abby, who says, I would 100% do CAP if there's a money-back guarantee if it doesn't work.
Oh.
What else needs to be said?
Abby's very smart. Now, her comments have been very logical.
She's great.
Yeah. And we need those souls.
If they're so confident that it works, then they should do that. But if not, it's a BS treatment. I've already been fooled.
Well, if we can, from your reading and my reading and what we've seen, this is a cold pack that gets put on a red face, if they're red on the face or elsewhere. The idea that you need to come back every day or multiple times for months is a moneymaker. There is no such thing. Take a pill, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're being duped. They do not like to hear that they're being duped. They do not like to hear that they're fools. They're fools. And I think of the Pied Piper of Hamelin leading all the rats out and then the children out because there was a belief that this was the method that works. And these people are being led astray. It's not good. So are we at fault for having these conversations and allowing these fools access to the internet? We have not had a response with this many people for the last couple years. There are 1,700 who have signed on this CAP therapy. We have had 500, we have had 800, we've had 1,300.
Well, it's a niche channel. I mean, we're speaking to...
why so many on this?
Well, because...
the lowest of the low therapy.
Because how obnoxious of you to have an opinion about something. That's what it really is. They're going to come beat your brains out because you're calling, a hoax a hoax. Whether it's this or whatever the numerous things we talk about. As a matter of fact, somebody, Yaha writes, I read more negative reviews about Dr. Rapaport than I do CAP therapy. The implication being, because there are more negative reviews than you, there's more thumbs down on you than there is thumbs up on,
well, the smart
that's
people,
bad, right?
The smart people, the good people, the cure people don't write. Only the nuts write.
Well, don't.
Oh, I'm sorry, nuts. Those who are close to being nuts.
Well, we're getting a lot of positive support, so I don't want to go there. But what Bobby writes is, a few $100 domestic medical care from Dr. Rapaport is bad. Symptom management from Dr. Rapaport is bad. $30,000 treatment in Thailand for unproven CAP therapy with a mystery serum is good. I'm so glad that I've been set straight.
Of course,
right?
If something is expensive, it's got to be good.
Somebody's going to throw you a few shekels to look at their blood work and work with their dermatologist, and that's the epitome of evil. And you make up the fact that it's a 5-year duration, so you can continue to to milk these hapless patients for a couple bucks. Yeah.
And listen to every problem. Listen to everything that needs their hand held. There is no doctor out there who will do that. And that's what they need often.
Yeah, you're completely wrong. I got CAP therapy in Thailand with 5 months. I got my life back. Oh, Lord.
I don't know what their life was before. It was terrible. I ran through this. I've mentioned it before. I ran through this with probably 300, 400, 500 people who were told they had herpes. I have never seen a case of herpes in any of these patients.
We have a video on it, by the way. We have a video on it. If people want to go back and look, they're more than welcome to do that.
But that died. You know, each thing dies. There have not been a large amount of people, but there's been about 20, 25 who were told they probably have lymphoma, which is garbage talk. I have not seen any case of mycosis fungoides or Sézary syndrome. You're dead if you have Sézary syndrome, et cetera, et cetera. So there have been other things, but nothing has attracted the attention like this very expensive thing. And Thailand, there must be some magic in Thailand. It must be like Disneyland over there. I can't wait to go over there. It's such a wonderful place. And I'm going to be cured.
Well,
and you know what? Only the rich can afford to be cured. The poor slobs who don't have the money, let them suffer. That's what they're saying.
Well, maybe this video will smoke a few people out to give us a little bit more information on studies that are out there with regard to CAP therapy that we know nothing about as it relates to topical steroid addiction withdrawal. Love to see it.
You and I have looked it up on the internet. Well, we can't find anything.
It could be hidden in Fibber McGee's closet.
They don't know who Fibber McGee is. They're not old enough.
Okay. Well, it could be there. And so what are we doing? Are we trolling? That's it. We're trolling.
Okay. So if you want to bring up Fibber McGee, then I'm entitled to mine. Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The shadow knows.
Yeah, exactly.
And these people, to me, are evil.
Well,
The Shadow was a radio show.
I appreciate the constructive and encouraging comments. And I also even appreciate the person that said that their dermatologist told them that that cyclosporine causes squamous cell carcinoma. She went to great lengths to not be insulting and dismissive and all that. And I get it. I get where her mindset is. She's not looking for a confrontation. But in the context of what she's writing, people are seeing that and they're being convinced to not go out and seek proper medical care. That doesn't mean that we're shills. It just means that it's a 3 to 5 year problem.
But we have, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
But we have other evidence of other situations. If only I had the money, I can go to Thailand and be cured. If only I had the money, I can go to Harvard and my life would be secure forever and ever. If I only had the money, you know, et cetera, et cetera. It's all bullshit.
Well, or because I got to go spend $30,000 in Thailand, I'm just going to stay on steroids. That's the other. That's the other option, right? I'll deal with a flare up. I'll deal with any organ problems. Or I'll just stay on steroids.
Yeah, and how can I believe this one individual who has spent all this time and seen all these people? How can I believe him when there's an organization in Thailand? Oh, there's one in England, and there's one who knows what those organizations are?
Where is the fury that's directed at you, at the American Dermatological Association, the National Eczema Association, the ITSAN, all of them? They're going to unload on you and tell you what an ass you are, but they're not going to unload on these organizations. I don't get it.
Well, that brings up another small area. I won't go in depth, but ITSAN has plagiarized me like crazy, and they're failing like crazy because they do nothing. The NEA demeaned me with Dr. Simpson.
Can I interrupt? Can I interrupt you right there? ITSAN could do something though. ITSAN could spend the money to investigate CAP therapy with sponsored studies, with a control group and all that stuff, and say one way or another it's great or it's not great. They could do that, and they're not doing that. No. They're going to Washington, D.C., and they're meeting with lobbyists, and it's all baloney.
Well, they think small, and they're not very logical. The NEA sponsored a paper that both Doctors Leo and Simpson and a couple others were on. They demeaned my paper, a small one, along with several others that had 1 or 2 cases saying that there is no such thing as steroid addiction. This was in 2016. They demeaned my work and never mentioned the paper that was written 5 years prior talking about the 1,500 patients that I cured. And these nasty, and I won't use any curse words, but you know what I would say, are now into TSW. They're the mavens of TSW, these 2 doctors and others. The NEA is into TSW with webinars.
Well, no, they're not.
How can they get away with that?
But how can the NEA be into TSW if they're pushing Dupixent?
Well, I can see the logic.
What's the logic?
They don't say addiction. I'm not going to go near that. I'm not going to say all the doctors force these people, and I'm not going to say that they don't have eczema. They have eczema. They're not addicted. They're not addicted. They're not addicted. But they are on steroids wrongly for too long. Let's take them off of steroids. That'll help.
Nobody at the NEA
now I got drugs for the eczema. I've got 8 new ones. Mr. Drug Company, come on board. You can start advertising and stipending me.
But the NEA's not saying to go off of steroids, are they?
Yeah, they're saying TSW is part of me, and I got webinars with other docs.
Then why is the NEA supporting drugs that were tested with people on topical steroids?
They have no concept of who they were testing.
That's my point.
All the tested patients were addicted.
But that's my point. If the NEA is saying, "Hey, go off steroids and take this drug," and the drug was studied with people on steroids, it's a logic loop.
In fact, it's worse. I went over every paper that was written about all 8 drugs.
How are we still talking about this?
Let me finish.
Okay.
Critical. Every one of them were still on steroids.
Exactly.
Hidden in the methodology, page 6 or 7. And there were 12 pages of graphs and bar graphs and showing how wonderful, and it did nothing. Every one of them were allowed to use steroids if there was a flare, so that everything was evened out. So they knew that they were flaring, but they were blaming the eczema was flaring. And they allow them to be on steroids. No scientific paper study is ever done like that. They should be embarrassed, the lead authors, the doctors who were there, and I've named 2 of them, and there have been several others who were professors, and then all the others donated their patients. They sacrificed them.
Well, that's what ITSAN does. That's what ITSAN has, a repository for people to go do all this stuff. Please like, share, and subscribe. Share this information with people who are considering CAP therapy so they can have at least the other side of the argument, do a little bit more investigation. Chronic eczema patients, share this information with them. Please subscribe to our channel if you like hearing Dr. Marvin and I rave and rant at each other. We will try to do it more frequently, but Doctor has patience and he's busy trying to help people legitimately get through the 3 to 5 years of topical steroid withdrawal. But we very much appreciate all of your comments, despite maybe some previous negative things. And please continue to do so. Like, share, and subscribe, and we'll be back with you again soon. Dr. Marvin, thank you very much.
John, you're always super in your interviewing.
I gotta not be so obnoxious. I'm gonna work on that. All right, talk to you next.